Who's that? Commander Claw. Who's bad? Commander Claw. Well, welcome back to another episode of Breaking Brews. I'm here to actually bring you an Azorius commander that I actually like. I don't like Azorius commanders generally because I think the whole blue-white pip does not do anything that's satisfyingly entertaining when I'm actually playing that type of deck. Except for the Ice Queen. From Thrones of Eldraine. But anyway, this commander is Niko, Light of Hope. It's on a 3/4 body human wizard, legendary creature for 4 mana total, white, blue, and 2 colors. Over here on the left hand side, I got these key terms that pretty much are the makeup of the card, the foundation of the card. So we got copy creature, delayed trigger ability, top deck manipulation, flicker slow. So all that being said, on the next slide, I'll give you a larger view of the commander's abilities. Okay, when Niko Light of Hope enters the battlefield, create 2 shard tokens. They are enchantments. With tap 2, sacrifice this enchantment, scry 1, then draw a card. Also, she has tap 2 and tap her, exile target non-legendary creature you control. Shards you control becomes copies of it until the beginning of the next end step. Return it to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. So I'm going to start at the bottom here with the flicker slow ability. So this is really good because you get to flicker a creature, which means it leaves the battlefield and enters the battlefield. So you need to play enter the battlefield abilities on creatures to actually get value out of your commander. Generally, that's what you need to do. So something that enters the battlefield and taps a creature, cool. Enters the battlefield and creates a treasure token, cool. All right. So moving back up to the shard tokens, they are enchantments. Okay. So these enchantments allow you to do top deck manipulation because you tap 2, you scry 1, and draw a card for each enchantment. And also, they become copies of a creature. So that's where I believe a lot of pilot deck builders are going to go, is just copying a really powerful creature or a creature with a great ability, and you get to have a total of 3 of them, unless you do some interesting things with interesting creatures. On to the next slide. Of course, I had to put Mondrak Glory Dominus in here. This is one of my favorite cards. Uh, to the left, I'm gonna just show you some keywords that make it up. Gains Indestructible is a sacrifice outlet on a creature. It is a token doubler, double up those shard tokens, and it has synergy token, which means, hey, actually, let me read the card. Sorry. Mondrak Glory Dominus is a 4/4 Phyrexian Horror legendary creature for 4 mana, 2 white, 2 colors. If one or more tokens will be created under your control, twice that many of those tokens are created instead. So once you have Mondrak on the battlefield, you play Niko Light of Hope, you create 4. And that's not to say that you can't flicker Niko herself. So you create another 4 every time you flicker her with Mondrak on the battlefield. Easy, easy. Y'all knew that was coming. But the ability below, tap 1, Phyrexian mana. That's either you pay 2 life or you pay a white color pip for it. Sacrifice 2 other artifacts and or creatures. Put an indestructible counter on Mondrak. Trust me. Once you do that, your opponents will try to exile this. This is a very powerful commander. So overall, you see with Niko, you can double up your shard tokens, which makes her very powerful. And remember, you can always flicker Niko to create more shard tokens. Azorius is known for flicker effects, either fast or slow. Okay. So next up, we have Hero of Bladehold. For 4 mana, it's a 3/4 human knight. Over here to the left, you're going to see these keyword terms I like to put on there by now. Power boost to all, repeatable token generator, synergy attacker, attack trigger, right? So back to Hero to Behold, it has the battle cry ability. Whenever this creature attacks, each other attacking creature gets +1/+0 until the end of turn. That is the power boost to all. Battle Cry is a power boost to all. All your attacking creatures get +1/+0. So those shard tokens, and if you copy Hero of Bladehold, woo-wee. Okay, let's do the math real quick. Hero Bladehold, and you attack with those shard tokens. They get +1/+1, +1/+0 for each one. So that's what, power +6/+0 on attack. Yeah, that gets pretty ugly. Then also it says whenever Hero Bladehold attacks, create two 1/1 white soldier creature tokens that are tapped and attacking. Wow, you pretty much create an instant army here. Once you copy this with your shard tokens and you attack with them, that's the total of what? 3, 6, 9 creatures that are gonna get +6/+0. No, actually +3/+0 because you got three of them. I'm sorry. Yeah. +3/+0. Yeah, easy peasy. Add this creature if you want to do some attack, which is pretty cool in Azorius. All right, Angelic Skirmish for 6 mana is an angel for all you angel tribal lovers. It is a flying 4/4. At the beginning of each combat, choose first strike, vigilance, or lifelink. Creatures you control gain that ability until end of turn. So I would like to think if you copy Angelic Skirmish with your shard enchantments, you get to choose first strike, vigilance, or lifelink for each one of those. So how about give them all three abilities? So literally, you're swinging with three angelic skirmishes with first strike, vigilance, and lifelink, all for 6 mana. Pop, 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 destroying your opponents. Easy. Okay, so let's get into them support and utility cards here. We got Foundry's Foundry for 3 mana, 2 colorless, and a blue artifact. It's literally a mana rock. Okay, tap it, add blue. When you spend this mana to cast an instant or sorcery spell with mana value 3 or less, you may exile that spell instead of putting it into its owner's graveyard as it resolves. Okay, tap 5 total, 2 blue and 3 colors, and tap it. You may cast any number of spells from among cards exiled with Forger's Foundry without paying their mana cost. Activate only as a sorcery. So, what I really like about this card that really stands out to me is you are saving and storing your instants and sorcery spells. So they are never going away once you exile them as long as Fortress Foundry is on the battlefield. So getting an extra effect from a instant or sorcery is mega value here. That's mega value. Even if it's a Plaster Sorcerer for a second time, that is valuable, y'all. Valuable. Then the best part is you tap 5 mana and you may cast any number of spells from among cards exiled with them. Any number. So you can have a huge effect all at once. Like I can't imagine what type of chaos you could do. Like two what? A source spell share and with something else and two types of card draws all for 5 mana. That's a steal. That's a steal. Anyway, it's a mana rock. It allows you to cast another spell. Has synergies with instants and sorceries. I only put instant here. But where it says mana value matters, you really get the most bang out of your buck with this card. Okay, we got Mentor's Guidance for 3 mana. It's a sorcery. It reads, when you cast a spell, copy it if you control a planeswalker, cleric, druid, shaman, warlock, or wizard. What do you know? Niko, Light of Hope is a wizard creature type, so this counts. Anyways, scry 1, then draw a card. So when you have Niko on the battlefield and you cast Mentor's Guidance, I know some of you will hate it because of that sorcery speed. You literally scry 1, draw a card, then additional time scry 1 and draw a card. So that's like top deck manipulation, 4 cards deep. I think also I wanted to say a lot of people I don't think they know what cantrips are. Cantrips are cards or spells that do something, then they always allow you to draw a card. Cantrip. So just want to put that out there. I'll be honest with you. I feel like every time I have a blue commander, I always add this card. This is one of my favorite cards. I don't think a lot of people know about this card, but this card is a beast. Court of Vantress for 4 mana enchantment. When Court of Vantress enters the battlefield, you become the monarch. One of my favorite abilities. That's where if you are the monarch, you get an emblem. At the end step, you get to draw a card. If you attack somebody and do combat damage to that player, you become the monarch, right? Anyways, at the beginning of your upkeep, choose up to one other target enchantment or artifact. If you're the monarch, you may create a token that's a copy of it. If you're not the monarch, you may have Court of Vantress become a copy of it, except it has this ability. So I look at this enchantment to copy your, what do you know, shard enchantment tokens. Bam. So on each upkeep, if you're the monarch, you get another shard token. So either if you're the monarch, you create a token of it, or Court of Vantress becomes an extra shard. So that's, I mean, let's start off basically. That's 3 shards that you can have on the battlefield to create copies of another creature. But this card is really good for repeatable draw, repeatable token generation, and it copies enchantments. Steal. Now, I must say, I got to do a little explanation on this card. Uh, Let me explain here after I read the ability. Reluctant Role Model for 2 mana. It's a 2/2 human survivor. You see that death thing in the back of it? I would hate to see that in real life. Anyways, you won't catch me in that type of film. It has the ability Survival. At the beginning of your second main phase, that's after combat, if Reluctant Role Model is tapped, put a flying lifelink or +1/+1 counter on it. Usually, if you attacked with the creature, you have to tap. So that is one way to have it tapped. When a Reluctant Role Model or another creature you control dies, if it had counters on it, put those counters on up to 1 target creature. So what you need to know is +1/+1 counters, flying counters, lifelink counters, or any other type of counters can be on other type of permanents. So I will say your shard token is an enchantment. If you copy Reluctant Role Model, it has to be it has to have a what should we call it? A counter put on it if it is tapped, right? So then when the shard token reverts back to an enchantment, those counters are still on the enchantment. Yes, so counters still can be on other permanents. Always remember that. It, they're just usually paired with like creatures. So you assume that +1/+1 counters can only be put on creatures. Sometimes +1/+1 counters can be put on non-artifact creatures or non-creature artifacts. Yes, tricky, but both ways. So what I'm trying to say is create shard tokens, create copies of Reluctant Role Model, keep on adding these different type of counters on these creatures. Then you can move the counters once a creature dies. What? So if you put out an Angel Tribal and you want to give it out, what, lifelink +1/+1 counter, then add the Ozolith in your deck, steal. Steal. Hope you like that card. That is pretty nasty. Hey, if you liked the video, make sure you hit the like button. If you really want to put your friends on game, go ahead and share this video. Otherwise, I'm just going to have one request from you. Go ahead and subscribe so I can put out more videos, more commanders, more 5 cards that you might like to add to your future decks. Peace out, Commander Club.